Alright, my friends. Game number 3. I wanted to say 3 in Spanish, but the only thing that came out was dos, and that's wrong. I guess it's tres. Número 3. There we go. All Spanish people are now proud. SKT Telecom with the Blitzcrank ban. That is wild, man. That is freaking wild. SKT Telecom, last game, got completely demolished in the bot lane. Blitzcrank was something that SKT Telecom just weren't ready to deal with. Let's see what Misfits throw on the board this time around. I'm excited to see what happens in draft. Misfits are banning the Galio, removing it from the table. It's not something they want to play. Even though most Galio bans that we've seen in this tournament are on blue side because of the potential Galio flex. But SKT, they solved it quite neatly together with the Jace. Let's see if Misfits are going to leave Jace open. Huni's had standout performances. Xayah is also a champion that Hansama has performed very well on. I think Xayah is a ban that we might see dropped if this series goes on for longer than SKT are comfortable with. Let's see now as we move on. Misfits, fantastic, amazing that they actually take a game of SK Telecom. The entire analyst desk expected 3-0. I expected 3-0, but the flaws of SK Telecom are very evident and obvious. SKT should now first pick the Lulu, and then Misfits are gonna trade here for Jarvan. Let's see what wacky support Misfits are gonna pick this time. You know, Thresh was something that worked, but they picked it primarily with Xayah. What other crazy supports can they go for? Who knows? You know, they can also just play it standard, go back to the Taric, and be fine with it. I think Jarvan, Tristana, like Tristana is something they were very successful with, and Jarvan, Tristana, I think it's good in general because you deny the enemy team from picking the annoying AD they can get out of your Cataclysm. So now the question is if the SK Telecom is willing to blind pick Caitlyn, or if they're just going to leave AD for later. There's been some severe pickups against Tristana as well. I think from this position, they should just pick up the jungle. Blanco subbed in. I forgot to mention that. Peanut has been non-existent. And I think it's a massive problem. You know, the only game SK Telecom actually won their game was together with Galio. Maybe SK Telecom need to play Talia and let Faker take over another early game. But let's hope Blank comes in here with some fresh perspective. Seeing that he looked at the game from the bird's eye view. You know, I looked at the game together with Koma. Maybe they figured out something about Maxo that we all have missed. Or at least I have missed. I should speak for myself. I don't know what kind of geniuses are out there and they just know everything. This time around, you know, the Blitzcrank ban was swapped out for Orianna ban, so Misfits get what they want, and you know, this makes it all the more interesting. The support pick gets it's kept till later. Jace is a flex, but it will most likely go top lane. Curious to see what champion Misfits send up there. Like Jarvan could do fine against Jace as well, but either way, you know, Huni's Jace has been a dominant force. We'll just have to wait and see. LeBlanc ban. Choga was the last time, was the last champion Alphari dismantled Jace with. Caitlyn has the ban as well. This will most likely put SK Telecom on a stationary AD carry. Let's see now what Misfits wants to do to counter a stationary AD carry. The Raven Hover. Rakan, okay. I forgot about Rakan. Rakan definitely works. Huh? Okay. Like, it's not too bad, right? Like, We talked about how they're gonna be forced to pick a stationary AD, but I guess SK Telecom could go for potentially Sivir now, and then they have like a shield to deal with Leona at least. But wow, freaking Leona, picking Leona over Rakan. Now that is interesting. That is new. To be fair, you know, they had no idea how to deal with the Blitzcrank. No idea. Whoa, Vayne. Vayne, bringing the pain. Now that is interesting as well. What is this game? Leona Vayne. What are those? This is crazy. Crazy. And Faker now hovering Talia. Holy moly. He knows. I think he knows. He knows so badly. He's like, my junglers don't do anything, man. I need to do the ganking. I need to do the roaming. It especially synergizes very well here with Jace. They can pressure into top sides, and SK Telecom is just going to play the farm game down bottom. I'll be curious to see if Vayne decides to run Cleanse, which can be very good in this matchup, and Ivern to solve the Ardent Sensor crisis. We won't see any Ardent Sensor Orianas this time around. We see an Ivern in the jungle that's going to apply Ardent Sensor to Tristana. Very interesting. We saw G2 dropping this bomb in the group stage. Didn't work out too well for them. I think they dropped it against Samsung the first time, and then they got rolled over in 27 minutes. Alright, this is interesting. This is definitely unique, a unique game. I think bottom has a strange dynamic to it. I think Misfits bot lane should be able to push, but I'm not entirely sure. Like, you know, Vayne doesn't have a lot of pushing power to provide with, and Lulu doesn't really compensate for that completely. I think trading wise, SKT can do well. It's a question of Misfits if they can latch on to Vayne or not. Should be a difficult thing, but Vayne needs to tumble in lane to trade with Tristana. So as long as she doesn't tumble, and when she tumbles, Leona's there to punish, I think it's all fine and dandy for Misfits bot lane. Maxwell with the Ivan pickup, just for the Ardent Sensor. What a balance item. Now we got Jarvan up top. A lot of engaged tools here on Misfits later on in the game. They have the wave clear. They also have a way to potentially deal with the split push. I think Misfits composition is very dangerous if you look at it. And I think SK Telecom, they rely on getting ahead early on. And I think the main difficulty for me with Vayne is that she will struggle to deal with Orianna and Tristana. So like she can just, you know, she doesn't necessarily scale super well into the game because Tristana and Tristana and Orianna should be able to deal with a low range Vayne quite well. Fantastic invade here from SK Telecom. I want to take a step back and just look at the minimap of what's going on. You can see that SKT are not working with a lot of vision, and they're just walking in towards max lower at the 130. Jace is very OP on early levels, and so is Talia, so this is working out perfectly. Now, a big weakness for Ivan is that early on he's very unhealthy in his career, and any type of invades can screw him over, especially if you split the map in half. And some with aggressive W forwards, and I think he can calm down just a bit, you know. We need to, like, he's gonna regen that HP with his Doran shield. It's not a big deal, so it's not that big of a problem. Just testing the waters with his W, I guess, but okay, that's a flash from Bang. Ooh, he'll use. Oh! Whoa! What is happening, dude? Misfits! Misfits is insane! Fervor Leona. Alright, Faker with the flash in. Power Vivo. What? What the hell, man? Misfits? Oh my god. SKT's bottom lane dismantled. Holy moly. Crazy stuff. I want to take a look at this fight in the bot lane. Okay. So the E lands, Bang is forced to flash. Exhaust on Hansama doesn't do too much. So the exhaust wasn't that good. And then the shield and Ignar with the fervor. Like look at him bashing away people with his fervor. Like he's doing so much damage. This is a very interesting keystone choice. Like the fervor is doing so much damage here. It is deleting the enemy. Deleting them. It is doing some sick shit here, man. Let's go back. It is just the choice of the trade. Like Bang gets hit by the Leona E. Misfits are able to commit on Bang all the way. And then... what the hell? Ignar is just auto-attacking away with his fervor. Holy moly. And that's it. That's it, you know. The trade starts bad for Bang, and then they use the exhaust, and Hansama is forced to walk away, and then I think they should have turned on Leona already here. Like already here, they should have turned on Leona, and it would have been a lot better, because Tristan is not going to be able to auto-attack, kite backwards, and get your free hits in here on Leona. But a lot of the creeps are barraging towards Bang, and then the E lands. And Tristana comes back in after popping a potion, and her Doran shield running with some health regen a bit, and Misfits. Wow. Fake with the flash. Maxlor also forced to flash. Parweevil is in position. Mid lane seems completely fine. Top lane, Jace is in favor. And Maxlor finally wins the dance. Gragas is still level 1. This is a crazy freaking game. Gragas level 1 at 3 minutes. Maxlor is at an advantage. He's going to be doing his camps quite slow here, the Gragas. He's going to do the first one, most likely smite it. Fire is taking some heavy harass, and you know, looking at top lane, it's very good that the jungles are inactive, right? Like, a big problem with Ivern in those carry matchups or in those explosive matchups, Ivern, his ganks are not the greatest. Like, they're good when he has redemption and his items, right? But when he doesn't have items, his skirmishing potential is very weak. And Huni playing Jace against Ivern is something that he's very happy with. Especially knowing that the enemy is very far behind, and so is his own Gragas. But in this case, where Jace can just perma pressure the Jarvan, he's super happy, super happy. Both mid lanes have no flash, so it would be interesting if potentially Huni could roam around after pushing out top. If he can just look for some ganks in mid lane, and then Talia can start pressuring as well. Alright, deja vu here. Wolf with no flash is just gonna get one-shotted. Ivan didn't even need to be here, man. Ivan didn't need to be here. This is a straight up one-shot. Ignar lands a stun and then flash in from Tristana. And how much games has Bang played of Vayne? Let's be honest. It has to be next to nothing. And Misfits are just dropping the bombs on the enemy with the Leona pick. Holy moly, this is mental. This is crazy. Absolutely bonkers. SK Telecom are getting smashed. And you know, Blank just got subbed in, but what is Misfits supposed to do? Like, what is SK Telecom supposed to do differently here after that 2v2 in bottom? Oh, this might be too deep. But 1-for-1 so far, it's not going to be a big issue. Blank is very low on HP. Hansama can't do much else. Wing in is suicide. Talia is also coming from mid lane. Keep in mind here, SKT lost so much CS. So much. It's crazy how much CS they lost. So this was a good play depending on Misfits. Can they survive here? Doesn't look like it. Hansama is dead. Fake is also going to pick up a second one. Alright. So the main question is, you know, Misfits, I think they're just fighting too deep. They E in, and then the Gragasy lands on Ignar, and they should be happy right here that the enemy team is not farming the wave. So in a case where, you know, in a case where they stay in this position, I think it's all fine. Here I'm happy with the fact, with how they play. Stay in this position, make sure that the enemy loses these creeps, and you should be happy. But fighting beyond this point is just unnecessary. The goal has already been completed, and that is to put yourself in a scenario where the enemy team is not farming. But this is just too deep, risky to E a Gragas that can E away with you, and then the E lands. You can CC on the tower, and it's a bit too risky. Faker also with his movement from mid lane walks in here, and Wolf here with the clutch Q is what settles it here. W on Lulu allows him to chase. If it wasn't for the slow, maybe they could have gotten away. So Wolf is being quite clutch in this scenario. And this all kind of stemmed from, like, Misfits had this opportunity to zone the enemy just because of the kill on Tristana. So they forced Lulu off the tower, and then Tristana was respawning, and then they continued to try to pressure. But this is a massive comeback here for SK Telecom. Jace at a 15 CS disadvantage. Orianna with the blasting one, you just have to assume he's going to go for the Road of Ages Nash's Tooth build. Not much else to buy with this blasting one, early on at least. Alphari has flash, doesn't need to use it. Fervor Hansama doing so much damage. Just compare Hansama's items to the Vayne items. You know, very similar situation to the last game where Koma was under heavy siege, and Bang and Wolf don't seem to be able to deal with unconventional things. Very similar situation to the game where Jace and Galio were just too far ahead on tempo, top wise, and the situation where the enemy team had Caitlyn and the Trundle. It was hard to just dive Caitlyn Trundle to make the counterplay to Jace getting potentially dove on top, and it's a very similar case here when Misfits just walk down bottom. It's hard for SK Telecom to just straight up dive top. Mountain Drake is open, but Misfits are just trying to continue to snowball here because Vayne is going to push so freaking slow. The last time we were in this scenario, Bang kind of left his lane to slow push out, which put him very far behind, and the decision for him to move didn't matter either. Let's see this time around what decision Bang is going to take. He's kind of afraid of pushing out until he sees the entire enemy team. I think he can walk up to the wave. I don't know why he's being so scared. He sees already 4 people on the map. Like, they spotted Ivan as well. Now he's finally woken up, and I don't think Jarvan can do anything to him. Lulu Jace, I guess, is the lane that we're playing now. Lulu Jace together against Ignar and Hansama. The 2v2 in mid lane should, you know, it's a strange thing how it works with Ivan. I think 2v2 should be weaker because of Ivan. I think he's such a strange champion when it comes to the 2v2s, and Gragas is level 6, has a stronger ultimate than Ivan's ultimate in this type of scenario. And even though Parari was stronger than Talia in all-in 1v1 because of her ultimate, I think like because of Orianna's ultimate, I think SK Telecom should be able to get priority in mid lane. Well, that's an all-in, but that is also a dead Huni. Holy moly, crazy things. SK Telecom, are they just gonna lose? Are they just gonna lose this game? Are they gonna be 1-2 against Misfits? Holy moly. Holy moly. Whoa, okay. Well, that's an equalizing play. The 2v2 from Misfits shouldn't be happening in mid lane, and I think at this point in time, Maxwell should just be like a bot that shields Tristana and supports the push from Tristana. Huni goes in for round 2. Misfits are now too low to commit to this. They don't have ultimates either. Huni manages to defend top tower while Vayne is farming bottom. There was no way in hell this worked, right? Vayne doesn't have TP from bottom. I can't say the words. I want to say Varus and Jarvan at the same time. Jarvan has TP, Vayne doesn't. I think everything about this play is silly. Even in the case where Lulu was in position, he would just get one-shotted. Lulu is really useless at this point in time. And disappointing play. Disappointing play from Huni. That's all. And then Misfits are taking the wrong decisions of playing the wrong decision of trying to play through mid lane, even though Orianna is level 6. Huni stunned up. He's gonna die here. He's gonna be dead. And now Misfits are just gonna pick up more kills, blank under the turret. Ignar can tank this forever. My goodness, man. Tristana is 6-1-2. Hansama. Hansama is having the tournament of his fucking life, man. Holy shit. 6-1-2. Someone take this man off of his Tristana, man. Take this man off Tristana. Power Evil almost at his Road of Ages. You know, there's no redeeming qualities to this Vayne. Nothing. No redeeming qualities at all. I think this Vayne pick is useless. I think this Vayne pick is reportable. I think whoever thought of the Vayne pick, you know, now that's fine. You know, that should be in your contract. You should get fined for this for sure. Misfits are just continuing their dominance. Vayne has been farming away on bottom, and she's attributed or done nothing for this game, while Jace has to try to do something 1v2. Like, sure, you could say that Huni shouldn't have died in that scenario, but what else should he do in this case? It's very little. He has very little room to do anything. Misfits, they are looking to get that 1-2 scoreline. You know, it's hard to look past in this game, and I like how Misfits solved the problem of bot lane, of knowing that they need to buy out on Sunset because it's too OP. Do it first with the Karma, and then pick the Blitzcrank. The Blitzcrank paid off big time, and then this time around the Leona and the freaking Tristana in the bot lane with the Uncensored coming from jungle. Absolutely mad, man. This is... What is happening, man? Europe! Good shit, good shit. Misfits, what a freaking year already, man. Already they took one game was like amazing, and now they're looking like they're gonna take two. Like the last time around when they were at disadvantage with Tristana, then the game was very easy for them to close out. And this game should not look any different. Faker is also running heal in the mid lane. It's an easy target for Leona to catch. And to be honest, whatever Leona ults at this point in the game is going to be a kill. 2 items finished. Ginsu's Rage Blade finished on Vayne. I really sincerely doubt that she's going to be useful at any point in this game. She's going to get pushed in, outranged. And I think that's the big issue of Vayne. She gets outranged, she gets pushed in, and she just has nothing to contribute to the game. If the lane matchup was fine against Tristana, Leona, okay. But it wasn't. They got smashed. And maybe there are some Vayne players out there that say, "No, you should win this as Vayne." Then okay, you know, sure, I believe you, because I'm not gonna say I'm a Vayne expert, and there has to be some reasoning to why they picked Vayne here. But my understanding is that Vayne is mobile and can deal with Leona CC by avoiding it and keeping a distance. And even now, like, Jace lost all his advantage while Alphari was farming away against the Vayne. And the win conditions are just non-existent now for SK Telecom. They're not going to win split push. They're not going to win a 5v5. The Vayne is going to be useless. And Talia is past her prime as well. Orianna's going to outscale her too. It's not like Vayne is playing against tanks either, you know, she's only playing against the Jarvan, and the Jarvan is itemizing, you know, damage. And Vayne, against this team, she really doesn't accomplish anything. And, you know, it's hard, you know, most of the time, SKT's early games, the lack of activeness has been something that we pinpointed to junglers, but as it stands right now, I think Bang and Wolf also has been they have also been a big problem. The Blitzcrank game, they got hooked more than they should have. In this Leona game, they are getting stunned way more than they should. Faker still has flash, flashing out of the way, flash for flash, and Faker also burning heal. Misfits now in good position to just pressure mid lane. It was a good trade from Power Evil, knowing that his entire team is coming around the corner in mid lane, and maybe, just maybe, Misfits could go for a second tower here. Jace is up top, and the Rift Herald is getting stuck, the Rift Herald is getting bugged to shit. Misfits are going for the second tower, the stun lands on Vayne, but Vayne is tumbling out of the way into stealth, just in time. Misfits don't go for a second tower, they just want to catch that top wave. They want to maintain pressure and not waste their time too much. SK Telecom do have an okay amount of wave clear with Talia, but Talia wasn't base, and that is why I thought, together with the chunk on Talia, that they could push for a second turret. Nashor's Tooth almost finished on Power View. Crazy stuff, crazy. Whoa, okay. So let's take a look at this. So this seems like a classic Misfits situation where they can get mid priority and deny the vision of the enemy jungle completely. Like you can see that right now when they're contesting Nashor and pressuring Nashor, this is the space that SK Telecom can work with, which gives them a lot of entry points to Baron, and they don't have to take any risks face checking these bushes. I feel like Misfits, it's very frequent that they've had this problem where they could potentially be pushing all the way and contesting the entire jungle of SKT, but this starts off bad. A lot of damage from Bang onto Alphari, And then Bang chases on. Ginsu's Rage Blade seems to do work. And then Misfits are forced off. And I think in this case, once again, you know, just to make myself extra clear, the space that Misfits need to take control over is where this Fiesta of Pink Worlds is. They have priority in mid lane together with Orianna, and they should just be able to push out all the way. And SK Telecom are hanging on strong. I think their comp is weaker as the game proceeds, but we will have to see. Maybe the Vayne can deliver more damage than I expect. Maybe her stealth is going to allow her to trade autos that I didn't think she could trade. Misses are just rushing straight to Nashor. This could be game winning or game losing, and I don't feel like they're in a position where that needs to be done. I think Misfits are just playing out this Baron dance very poorly. They're trying to go to the finale a bit too fast, you know. You need to warm up a bit, you need to tease the crowd a bit, and then, you know, you need to come up with a big finish, like a pirouette or like a backflip, you know. And they're just trying to rush to the backflip, and they're gonna just pull some joints here and there, maybe toward muscle or something, you know. I guess there was torn muscle. It's crazy how, you know, talking to myself and talking to myself doing these reviews for such a long time, I feel like my English is getting worse. Okay, Misfits is reset, giving SKT time to breathe. SK Telecom shouldn't be able to do anything about this dragon, even though Misfits are doing these strange baits onto Nashor. They are still the way stronger composition. They have all this extra gold. This gold advantage, wouldn't be surprised if all of it is on Tristana. There's a 40C's advantage and also like a massive kill lead on Tristana. And that is a big issue here. SK Telecom will have a hard time dealing with both Orianna and Tristana when they have all these low range carries on their side. They need to land some incredible CC, maybe a Gragas ultimate, steal a Nashor, and this is the way in. Let's continue onwards. What happened to our boy Ignar? And this is where the SKT line of defense is starting to happen. The main thing for Misfits is that they need to push in mid lane all the way, siege that tower, force SK Telecom to show up or force them to fight. Ignar this time around. They're walking all over Crab, so right now SK Telecom have vision over Ignar. They walk over SKT Crab and Ignar gets one-shotted. Ignar has flash, he probably could have survived the situation if he wanted to, but the damage from Vayne is not too shabby with this Ginsu. Applies the W in 2 hits. Gives her a lot of attack speed too. I'm just not too sure about the Ginsu's build against the team that Misfits are bringing to the table. Like, it's going to be very effective when it comes to hitting the Jarvan. But beyond that, you know, it's all about just burst when it comes to Orianna and Tristana. Oh, my lungs are killing me, man. My chest pain is kind of like increasing. I have like a rib cage pain, and I was told it's nothing by the doctors, so I'm gonna trust him and say it's nothing, but you know, I can definitely feel there's nothing in a lot of cases in my life. A lot of big items now, complete on Maxwell. The main thing that I want to see here from Misfits is that they just group up as 4 in mid lane, push all the way, and then be the ones placing the pink. Because like at this point in time, they do have enough. They have like good vision, and SK Telecom is definitely lacking it. So this is fantastic. I just want to take a look back and actually spot who plays this ward. Is it just a blue trinket? I guess it's just a blue trinket. My goodness, who places this ward? I can't figure it out. Okay, it's Leona that places the ward. Misfits managed to sweep the wards that are quite deep. They don't do it on the blue buff. Gragas and Talia is there. Orianna was also topside. It might have been dangerous. If they went for that, Huni could have TP'd in and they could have been in a situation where probably wouldn't be able to join. Stana very fed now. Well, she's as fed as before, but 3 items. It's massive. And Misfits just started because they spot Gragas on the ward on Wolves. And this was definitely a lot better than the previous situations and alterations that Misfits were in, where they were just straight up forcing Nashor. Like in this case, Talia was pushed in all the way, and Varus and Lulu showed up on this Wolf ward. Then Varus and Lulu, Vayne and Lulu are coming towards Baron, and it's just too late, and Gragas is also out of position. I want to take a step back and just check if the Gragas base was spotted by anyone, but it seems like he's just recalling on a pink ward. I think the main reasoning behind why Misfits just go for this is because Talia's in her tower. And they know around the pit SK Telecom is quite blind because of the pink wards. So look at this fight. It starts off with Ignar getting chunked to fuck. Let's see what Ignar does. I think what he's doing is quite fishy. Trying to come in from an angle, and his team is just not on the same page. His team just wants to base. And Misfits are forced to flow. Oh! Okay. So Ignar, right here, the first mistake is that Misfits is not on the same page. And I think Ignar walking in here is wrong. I think Misfits should be recalling, and Ignar should have been in the pit together with his team. Huge Orianna ultimate. Very well placed. Hits up 3 people. Hits Orianna, the clutch person. But the biggest problem here is Hansama gets knocked into a wall by Vayne. You can see Hansama is now knocked into the wall, and Hansama can't get out, which is a big deal. But this Orianna ult is massive. Heal comes down. Huni is a bit too deep for his own liking, and then Jarvan with the finish on the Varus. I keep calling her Varus, but Vayne. Misfits together with this Baron should be able to break open the enemy base. The only kind of wave clear that they have is Talia, and Talia, you know, if she gets ulted by Leona, she's done for. So that is like a big plus for this Leona, and Faker lacking cleanse. at this point in the game. Huni just making the most out of it. I feel like if he matches and Jarvan comes to him and Jarvan is not with his team, I think he should be happy with that exchange, because Jarvan should be a lot more useful than him in the team fight setting, and he does in fact beat Jarvan in the 1v1. But right now with this TP timing and the lack of TP for both top laners, when Huni bases, he's going to have like the side advantage where the enemy team is not in position to deal with the shit. But Jarvan just walks into mid lane and Misfits safely disengage. It's a very hard team to engage on. Paravivo gets the hit. Ooh! Alright, we need to see more of this. We need to see about 5 more of these for SK Telecom to come back into this game. And even then, even if they come back, like even if gold is even, I feel like the comp is heavily in favor of Misfits. The split push can be dealt with, and their 5v5 team fighting is just crazy good with Ivan. DT finished on Hansama as well. Crazy damage. Oh no, I'm feeling really drowsy. I think I need to lie down after this one. For a little bit at least. Because this series is mental. Very mental. You know, there's such a disparity in range when it comes to fighting and trading in general, and I just can't imagine a way Misfits lose. They have to heavily throw, and SKT need to get like some insane engages, and Huni needs to get like solo kills on side for a long time, and you know, soon his matchup against Jace will reach like a breaking point where like Jace is just gonna be able to dive the Jarvan. But I think we are far from it as of right now, and Hansama with his auto attack damage. Completely missed that kill on Wolf. I'm just gonna go back and check out the situation. No, it's just a difficult game to play at this point in time. I really don't know what else to say about SK Telecom. I'm Bevaros. I mean, the Vayne definitely didn't pay off. Vayne completely useless. Maybe she can land some insane crits, but really unhappy with the Vayne. I think it was a problem that SK Telecom didn't really have a chance to play to their Jace at all, because bottom was just feeding too heavily. They were dying over and over. They were dying level 1. They were dying under the tower. They're getting grabbed in the previous games. They're getting stunned in this one. It's crazy to think how impactful Ignite's champion pool has been, and it's definitely a smart way of thinking outside the box, because a lot of the melee supports are still pretty OP, like Braum and Alistar, Leona too, it seems, you know. So enabling these supports that are good against the Lulu and the Janna, that means so much. So SK Telecom with a Desperation Nasher. They're just hoping that the enemy team is not awake. Like me. Good wall though. Alfari with the 2k. Oh, okay. Is this the best case scenario? Holy moly. Misfits. So good, man. Maxo with the clean smite. So 1 for 2 with an Asher, 2 for 2. Let's take a look at the fight. The wall comes in, Alfari, ults only bang. Nah, I don't think SKT could have hoped for a better opportunity. I just think there comes things at this point in the game, and I don't think Vayne has a place in this game. Maybe if it was Uzi Vayne, maybe it would have been better. But Alfari ultimate was a bit strange. Ults in, Orianna ultimate doesn't land on anything, and I think he just ults the wrong target. He ults Vayne out of all people, and okay. Elder Dragon is open. Vayne and Lulu are the only ones alive. Elder Dragon, if Misfits get this, it's going to be completely over. They should be able to, no problem. Talia is still dead. Misfits with the Elder now, running it down mid lane. Baron's also up. Talia's wall is gonna, okay, contest it for one wave, but after that, you know, they're just giving Baron to the creeps, and they're gonna start hitting. Unless Hansama gets caught or Power Reaver gets caught, I don't think anything is gonna happen. It's going to be all good in the neighborhood for Misfits. They're gonna head into the next matchup. I think they could go as far as Hansama just taking all shields and then just jumping in. You know, he has Orianna's shield, Ivan's shield. It's quite big here. Top wave is also stacking. If Misfits can give Nasher to it in time, then they should be able to break the entire base. I think Hansama should just walk up for the auto. Thank you very much. Trying to get the rapid fire for him. I don't know, the top wave is so big, I think they should have went for that instead of going down bottom. 1 minute left on this Baron, and maybe Jarvan should just be spreading it onto top wave. Look at this wave of top, man. It's so freaking massive. This worked too. Misfits' main goal should just take all inhibs. Let's think about this game once again. Hansama and Ignar dominating bottom. Leona doing work. It's crazy to think that the high caliber bot lane that is Bang and Wolf are getting absolutely smashed in the 2v2. First against Blitzcrank and now against Leona. And Max Lord delivered by being there, you know, when the third fell and Power Reaver just doing Power Reaver things on Orianna. Didn't steal Nasher though. That was all Max Lord. Bang does crit quite heavily. Like, he has stealth and he can like tumble onto people and hit them before they hit him. So it's maybe one small window for them. Vayne gets a kill on Leona. Bang is trying to auto. Bang is too low. Hansama ults away, okay. Ults away the Vayne. And now Misfits with the triple inhib. Pushing in, Hansama so fed. Big deal now. Misfits 1 and 2. We have to ask ourselves, this Tristana, does SK Telecom have to last pick support? Because right now there seems to be nothing that is stopping our buddies over Misfits from picking these supports. I was a bit low on energy this game. I was feeling how I was just staring into emptiness, and I was quite like not awake, so I apologize for the quality of this one. Maybe I'll redo it in the future. I am not happy with the energy I had in this game, but simply put, it was the early game that put Misfits in a dominant position. They kept snowballing, and all of a sudden Misfits 1 and 2. All analysts predicted 3-0, and Misfits have already made history. Fucking amazing, crazy stuff. It's absolutely bonkers to think about this situation. I think this Vayne was completely useless. We just have to see in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.